It's a good win, there's no doubt about it, but there's not too many bad ones. As I said earlier, I'm happy to have won that game late tomorrow, to be honest. The key was to try and give ourselves enough time to bowl England out once we put 500 on the board, or had a 500 lead. Fortunately, it worked out. We could have a couple of those before lunch.
How impressed were you with sort of the focus of the team, I suppose, because there were some big things that happened before the match started, with Shane being dropped and Brad being not being available. Yeah, for the team to sort of focus and play all the work.
Yeah, I think the boys' attitude has been outstanding since we've been in England, to be honest. I was really happy with our preparation leading up to the first test. I was really happy with the way we played in those two tour games, being able to win those games. We just didn't play good cricket. We'll outplayed in Cardiff, but again, credit to the boys to be able to turn that around and come out and play some fantastic cricket. I think the way we batted in the first innings, I think Chris Rogers and Steve Smith deserve a lot of credit in halting the momentum that England had from the first test. And then the execution from the bowlers in both innings to be able to take 20 wickets is a great reflection of where this attack's at. The depth of our squad was certainly shown this test, and credit to obviously Mitch Marsh and Nev for coming in and grabbing their opportunities with both hands.
Mitchell Johnson goes all right, but he didn't when he was here in 2009, and probably had a little bit of bad luck in Cardiff. How do you assess his performance today?
The same as it's been my whole career with Mitch. I've always seen how good an athlete he is, to be honest. And I think today was a good example. That run out in the field. His bowling we've all seen over his career, and his batting's the same. I think he's striking the ball really well with the bat. So Mitch is a great weapon to have in your team, that's for sure. I think I probably utilised him a little bit better in this Test match than I did in Cardiff. But again, he's fit and strong, so he can bowl long spells if required, or he can come in and bowl in short bursts like he did today. So yeah, I think the whole attack deserves credit, because the way they bowl, that allows me to be able to use Mitchell the way I did in this game.
Just another one on Mitch. The pitches here seem to have been produced in a way to sort of stunt what he can do. Do you reckon that's backfired?
I don't really care about the wickets, to be honest. Whatever we have to play on, we have to play on. Yeah, both Test matches have been over in 4 days, so I know there's been a lot of talk about the wicket being flat here, but you've seen a lot of runs scored. You've seen a lot of wickets fall as well, so I hope for the people that turned up to watch and followed it on TV or radio or wherever they are around the world, I hope they're entertained, and hopefully, if you're seeing runs scored and wickets taken, I think that's great Test cricket. Generally, when you're playing against teams and with teams that have got good attacks, it doesn't really matter too much about the surface. They'll find a way to take wickets. It's what good bowlers do. So, yeah, I love seeing, in Test matches, I love seeing somebody win and somebody lose, and we've seen that in 2 Test matches so far. So, hopefully the rest of the series is the same.
Michael, just on Chris Rogers, I know you don't have a further medical update, of course, but considering what happened to him in the Windies, how concerning is this in terms of his immediate future?
Again, I don't know enough about it at this stage, but it sounds to me that today's incident, there's no relation to him getting hit in the West Indies or even the other day. So yeah, we'll wait and see the result and let the experts have a look at him and make their decisions, but I'm confident that Chris will be right for the next Test match.
Michael, were you surprised how easily England folded today?
I think the Australian bowlers deserve a lot of credit. I thought they executed really well, stuck to their plans, found a way to take wickets. So, yeah, I'd rather focus on how well the guys bowled, to be honest.
Dan?
Michael, talked before the game about the importance of batting first and seeing what was going to happen in this game. The way that the two teams play their cricket does seem to be a fair advantage getting that first crack, doesn't it?
I'm not sure I agree with that. I know it looks like it in these 2 Test matches, but I think whatever you do first, you've got to do well. And I've always spoken about first innings of a Test match is important. So whether you bat first or bat second, you want to go as deep as you can, especially on wickets that if they start out reasonably flat, then they're going to deteriorate as the game goes on. So day 4 and day 5 is always harder to bat. So yeah, I know it's hard for me to say that because you look at the 2 results of the game, and if you win the toss, looks like you win the game. But I think we could have batted better in our first innings in Cardiff, and I'm sure England would say they would have liked to have batted better in their first innings here.
And you talked a bit about the importance of attitude after Cardiff entering into this game.
Yeah.
Where did you start to see that in evidence leading into this game, and when did you feel like I guess the guys had their heads on right?
Probably before we left the change room in Cardiff. I think it was discussed where we didn't perform well. I thought the positives were also spoken about, and it was important that we took the positives from Cardiff. There wasn't very many, but we took those with us. And then again, I always look at training. I can tell before a ball's bowled in the game how I think we're going to go. And the boys were switched on. You know, I sense that hunger from the senior players in particular, and they lead that. And the young players, you know, they got that enthusiasm and hunger anyway, because they want to get out there and play. But I sense that hunger for success from the senior players, and we're going to need that if we want to continue to have success in this series.
Jonathan Rambo.
Just picking up from that, Michael, do you think this, what happened today, specifically in this Test match as a whole, can set the tone for the rest of the summer? Do you think that's likely?
Well, it sets a tone for us. Shows us, you know, I said after the first test that I sensed that was a little bit like losing to New Zealand in the World Cup. Just, it shows you the standard of cricket you have to play at to beat your opposition. And during the World Cup, that was the kick up the backside we needed, and I'm hoping that Cardiff was exactly the same for this series. So I think we know we have to be at our best to beat England in these conditions. We know if we get in as a batter, we've got to go on and make 100, because it is still hard to start. Even if the wickets are good to bat on, you're facing good bowlers. They can get you out. As a bowler, same thing. When you got momentum, when your tail's up, when you feel good, you got to cash in. And yeah, so let's hope that Cardiff was that, but we start again in Edgbaston, so we look forward to that.
Michael, is it fair to say that game was decided by on that last hour of day 2 when you sort of nipped out 4 wickets for not many, and is that the sort of spell that can switch momentum and sort of decide a series?
I think the game was set up by the way we batted in the first innings, by the way we stopped England's momentum from the first test. That's why I say I think Chris Rogers and Steve Smith deserve a lot of credit for that. Then we grabbed momentum by making as many runs as we did, and then obviously when we get a crack with the ball, the boys executed really well, and we continue that in the second innings. I think the other thing is to obviously be extremely happy with the way we perform, but also respect that we've played 2 test matches in a 5-test series. So we know we've still got a lot of work to do. I still see areas where we can get better. A few of us would definitely like a few more runs. I'd like to see no drop catches. So we turn up to training in Derby in a couple of days, and we try and get better.
Will you play that game?
I hope so. I'll have to speak to the selectors and see if they want to pick me. But yeah, I'd like to. I'd like another bat for sure. I'd like to spend some more time in the middle.
Watch every Ashes moment live.
And this is like the days of Lillian Thompson. How about it? How about it?
Buy your live pass at cricket.com.au/subscribe.